Welcome to Dull City. Population, Ned Snark. And of course, I'm here as well, Adam in Jersey. Ned, you we're recording this on Thursday. And Ned, you got a little bit of your ass torn out a little bit today by Kirk, huh?
No, I didn't. Please
Listen,
give me a break.
My takeaway was Kirk saying that our show sucks. Our show is boring. He's not wrong on any way yet. And he said, I like those two guys. So my takeaway, Kirk likes me. It's all that matters. That's it. I'm in.
Hey, look, he had a guy in the studio today who he refers to as a see you next Tuesday. So come on, please.
That is true.
Although I will say, Red, you were real quiet. You were a little too quiet today. I'd like to hear more from Red, even though Menners was the star. But
yeah, I actually think Red played it perfectly today. And obviously, we're starting here with the
Minihane
episode,
right?
Because basically it was a bonus episode of KMS, which, by the way, I think actually is a little bit of a shot at the Minifandom crew. I think Red played it perfectly. He was off to the side, but
what was the shot? What are you talking about? What was the shot?
Because that's a reference. Kirk said the same thing. He's like, this is basically a bonus episode of KMS because Manners had this opportunity to take charge, interview Kirk, really like go at him, go really criticize and all that. And listen, not that I would do anything differently, but he kind of turtled a little bit and he went easy. He asked Kirk maybe 4 or 5 questions. And then, Kirk took over the conversation and did what Kirk does and made it entertaining as only Kirk can. So yeah, I mean, I think that I was actually expecting more. You said you were expecting more out of Red. I was expecting more out of Menners.
See, I thought Menners did very well because when he's called in, he kind of turtles. But I don't think today was turtling at all. In fact, he smacked on. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my voice. He smacked on Harry and Riggs in the same. I mean, come on, you go up to someone's kid and Kirk rolled with it. So what are you going to do? But no, I thought Menners came prepared. I think he held his own. He got his points across. He's not overly critical anyway. If anything, Menners is critical of the world around Kirk. Cullinane running the YouTube. Us, all the other peripheral shows, and that's what we like. That's what we like about it.
Well, that's also what listen, that's what Mike said. If your biggest complaint about a podcast where, the podcaster says, hey, if you were in charge, what would you do differently? If your biggest thing was about everything around the podcast and not the actual podcast itself, that says everything you need to know.
But that's also what he's I'll stick up for Menners. He's true to form. I don't think he's ever been really critical of the podcast. It's usually it was Steve or it was, Dave or, it was or us or, the lack of imagination on the shows. It's fine. I think he is what he is. And I thought it was great that he's finally got here and he's getting, he's making a state visit, he's being touted everywhere. So, and he's got another 2 weeks to go. So it's going to be fun. I really have FOMO about the Wilbur show.
Well, we'll get there in a second, but I am shocked that Kirk actually let him into the studio today after
I won. Protest. It was a bet, right?
Yeah. Yep. I said you were right. I didn't think it would ever happen in general, and then with them protesting outside, I thought for sure Kirk was going to be like, "Yep, zero chance."
What is that noise outside?
Zero chance. Right.
Well, he Menners said early, was it this morning or maybe it was last night? I saw a tweet go out. Maybe I read it this morning that, he's going to do a protest outside of the studio on my way to Watertown or something, which was hysterical. Then he called it off. Then I think he was kind of shamed into putting it back on.
I didn't know that he called it off.
Yeah. He did.
Interesting.
So it was fantastic. And it is a shame. He asked the best question: who's going to sit in on Thursdays? Right. That was the $1 million question. If Menners was local, he would definitely be in that chair. Guaranteed.
I think he would certainly be
until he wasn't
running now. I would have said, listen, like I said with, when we had Montanti on, I didn't think that there would be a chance that Menners would be in the running. But now that he was there and now that Kirk did Minifandom, I think that there's certainly a chance that he could have been in the running if he was local. But, again, to defend him, just defending Menners from something that you said before, It's
what did I say?
You said before that that Manners typically turtles on when he calls
on calls. Yeah.
But the thing is also, and he even mentioned it, it's so hard when there's that delay. Like you can't really argue with someone when you're calling in on the hotline and there's that 10+ second delay.
That doesn't make me wrong about him turtling on calls.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying it makes it more explainable why
I hear it's difficult.
Yeah. It's not easy. But speaking of the Wilbur, I'm just excited for the fact that this is such a reversal of situations.
I know.
Everything is confirmed. Everything is confirmed with the wife. We are going to Boston for the weekend. Next weekend we'll be in the Cape for everything except for Sabbath. And then on Sabbath we'll be at my parents' regular house, and we will, which is not too far from the Wilbur. It's close enough that I'll be able to, once Sabbath ends, get in the car and just get over there.
Good.
I am concerned now though that I might not be able to make it for the VIP, especially if it's going to be before the show, since Kirk said he didn't want to do it after.
That's
but,
right.
I'll figure something out with that.
And we haven't talked to him. Or at least I haven't, like, one-on-one. Maybe you have. But is it true LK isn't going either?
He is not. I actually,
he spent a lot of money on tickets. Wow.
Well, when they spoke about it, when they spoke about him on the show on Minifandom, I actually messaged him also, and yes, I spoke one-on-one with him, and he's not going to be there. He's got previous engagement that weekend, and I mean it does suck for him. He spent a lot of money on that.
Well, when Kirk kept threatening to change the date, and even though he would have screwed Menners, I was kind of hoping do it because then I can go.
I know, right? I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay. As long as it's another weekend that I can do, I'm fine. Most Saturday nights I actually can do if it's in Boston. As long as it's not
good. I'm happy for you. If I don't go and you get to go, that's great because you've not been to any. So this is your first one, and you'll be a star too. You'll either be despised or you'll be a star.
I'll be despised by 90% of the people who know who I am based on pictures, which is probably 10 people, and then the rest of the people will just be like, who the fuck is that fat piece of shit?
Exactly.
Yep. So I will not be a star by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep. And my dullness won't be there, so it might be probably a pretty festive time, I would say. Very exciting. So
it will be. It'll be interesting though, because I feel like it'll be very different than all other KMS live shows. Like it's not going to be like this typical, closed, intimate, everyone talk to Kirk and like blah. Like Correct. It'll be a real like concert-esque, comedy show-esque type of feel to it, which will make it a little colder than what it would normally be like if it was a regular live event. So I still will feel like I don't have that experience under my belt, but I am really excited to actually see this live.
Not really at the Saco Drive-ins, but at Madawaska, I saw it at the Vigil. Definitely happened at there was another live event. The VFW. When it's a smaller venue and it's more intimate, people tend to shout out more from the audience, and that's kind of annoying.
Oh, very.
You can see it annoys him too, by the way. But this, I think now if it happens, he doesn't have to even listen. He won't even hear it, right? Because the Wilbur's pretty good, plenty of room. So it should be you should have a great time. You're going to both shows, right?
No. Only the second show.
Only
okay. The first show is too early.
Shabbat. Yeah.
The first show is too early. The second show, I have a VIP pass for, so we'll see if I can.
You'll get one. This is great. This is big news.
I know. I'm excited. My very first KMS live show. I will be there. It is official. It is signed, sealed, and delivered. All done.
So that was the show. It was great. Today's both episodes, you had a double drop. It was fantastic. So I really enjoyed both shows. But can we spool back to Tuesday?
Yeah.
Because and I'm so glad that we couldn't do it up last night because we had today to talk about, right?
Yes.
So we'll come back and talk about the earlier show today. But I have to say, I was in my office at work, and I don't often do this when I listen to the show. I kind of keep it muted. I have my own office, but you can still hear outside the office.
Yeah, of course.
But I went into I laughed so hard at the Tim from Canton call to Erica Nardini that one of the administrative assistants came into my office and said, "Are you okay?" That was so funny. It's just so out of the blue.
I mean, Tim is on such a different level than any other
God.
human being, and I mean that in such a loving way.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm jealous. I could never do that. I could never keep my cool like that.
But also, like, how does he even think about like how his brain?
Yes.
I would pay a lot of money to get just a 5-minute view inside of his brain.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
We have to get him back
wild. And for sure. And she, by the way, handled it pretty well. I'll give her credit. Like, she actually handled it pretty well. Especially given the fact that, if you're not someone who knows what it's talking about, it can come off a little bit as like homophobic and an issue you don't want, especially if you're Barstool.
She's a pro. She rolls right with it. And because you put yourself in her position, you'd be like, what the hell is this?
I also love that her initial thought was, is this a Kirk Minihane show thing?
Right.
Of all things that she just knew to assume.
Well, the accent too. Tim's accent cut with a knife, right? So
but it's Barstool.
She narrows it to
Barstool
Boston.
Is so ingrained in Boston, it could be anything.
Yeah, that's true. But that was a work of art. Full marks.
That was
9.9 out of 10 from the judges of All Aboard.
I mean, it was just so good. It was just, you know what? I'd raise it to 10 trains. 10 trains for me.
Yeah, 10 trains.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really, really impressive from
now, are you also going to give me props about Justin?
Go for it.
Because I said it.
Victory lap.
I said it.
Victory lap.
Well, did you check in on the 4th of July thing at all? That he was doing.
Actually, I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't because I was a little busy. I was trying to be all good father, good husband. Just separating from everything.
Failing miserably.
But no, I didn't. Oh well, always.
But no, I did for like 5 minutes, and it was as I expected. But he's not going to be at the live show.
I think he still will be.
But if he's out for medical leave, he's also not doing any work in preparation for it. Just like Sacco, the driver.
I don't think you can say he's out for medical leave with this. He has a flu. He has the flu, Ned. I mean, of all people, you should be.
It's the timing. Is it always before live shows? Now, okay, we'll give him credit. He got himself down to New York to rag on Chris. He didn't execute that very well. But again, it's like this is the second or now third time for a live show where he's not coming up, and it's something. There's something there. There's something about that.
The weirder thing for me is actually something that I feel like they glossed over a little bit. He drove to the mini golf place, and it was closed. And then he drove back, to the mini golf place.
Yep.
And although he was sick, he still drove there. Fine, whatever. Like, I don't think you need to be healthy to just go take videos of mini golf. But why? It was weird to me that he went there, but yet he didn't send them any videos.
Right, didn't do anything.
Like that. What was he doing there? Like, listen, I get it if you're sick and you don't feel well and you don't want to like really do anything or move or whatever, but
do something, right? Yeah.
But then don't drive there. Also, like, there's no way it hit the second he got there, right? Like, it was really weird to me that happened, and that sort of lent a little bit more of credence to, in my mind, what you were saying.
And by the way, we also have to, speaking of mini golf, and before we get to the Barstool mini golf, we got to give props to TJ Hubbard. He is on the tour. He is out like every week.
Really?
Hitting different, you're not following him. He's hitting,
I didn't see that.
Oh, he was up there for last month, right? Was that last month only?
Yep.
Since then, every couple of days, he's out hitting they're not called the links. What are they called?
No.
He's hitting the greens. So,
there you go.
Oh yeah. So he's really taking it seriously. So
good for him. Although I will say, awesome. if there's anything about me, it's that I have to make everything about me. And
yes, we know that.
When I was in the Cape last, I went to Pirate Cove in Yarmouth, and I shot myself a little 4 over par on the entire course. So
what are you saying?
That I'm pretty fucking good.
No, there we go.
I mean, nowhere near as good as TJ or Kirk or any other professionals, but I'm just saying, like, props to me also. If we're gonna talk, just go throw around props to people. I would like some. Just give some to me.
So Adam, we were talking about this yesterday because we were supposed to go last night, but we were very
Yes.
happy the return. The show came off as he promised. The Tuesday after 4th of July, Independence Day celebration. It was a fantastic show. Quick recap. Didn't really go into too much about what they did over the 4th, but that's fine. But what did you make of the Shaughnessy fishing expedition?
I mean, it was great. I was
bizarre.
laughing the whole time.
Bizarre.
I love the fact that Kirk was like that. First of all, credit again. Let's throw some props out. Props to Shaughnessy for not running with it. But
yeah, right. Yeah,
I love the fact that Kirk was like, I've spoken to this guy enough times that he should know my voice. Not to mention, it's not like you or I calling. Like you would know Kirk's voice if you hear Kirk's voice. He's been on the radio for how many years?
Yep.
Has a podcast. Like it's not just some random guy. Like you don't actually need to have even spoken to him privately so many times. He's someone that you absolutely know his voice. Yep. And so it was hysterical to me that Kirk didn't even change his voice and just went straight into just like, let's see what happens here.
Yep.
And so I loved it. I would have loved to have seen Shaughnessy run with it, but yeah,
that would have been too much to hope for, right?
Oh yeah,
that would have been great. I think what might have thrown Shaughnessy off was the new number, because Kirk did let it slip that he's got a new number. So I was dying though. It was like, oh my God, this guy is an idiot, and it really is. I mean, there is that case of, and I'm now one of them. I'm 60, but the old people, they always answer the phone. I don't answer anyone who's not a contact. But it's like they respond to that's so stupid.
Okay, but you also have to understand, and in this situation, I'll give Shaughnessy a break here. He's a reporter. Like it's part of his job is to answer his phone if someone is calling to give him a tip. And oftentimes those come from block numbers. Those come from numbers you don't have. So I'll give him that pass. That said, you have to vet and be, overly cautious. I even love the fact that, Kirk accidentally texted Shaughnessy instead of Justin about the ID card they were faking. I mean, it was just so perfectly set up for Shaughnessy to know what was going on.
And he did. And that's why I say I don't give him the credit that you're giving him, except that he didn't run with it. Okay. But the fact is that you take what would you call it? Unconfirmed drop line. I mean, you've got to confirm all that stuff. And he just jumped all over like, oh my God. It's like the sourcing was terrible.
Well,
but at the end, he didn't go with it. Right.
Right. But what I walked away with being like, this is weird from Shaughnessy's. First of all, he wrote the story. So he clearly was like on the verge of believing it.
Yeah.
But
I'm
sure he has. Right. Well, that's the thing. He definitely wants the story to be true. But I'm sure he has sources in the Red Sox organization that he could call and verify this very quickly. Like, he should have been able to verify not necessarily who this person is, whether this number is associated with the Red Sox, forget any of that.
Right.
But he should have been able, he has to have some connection within the organization that he could have called and been like, hey, are people really this pissed about, no, not even that. But just like, are people really this pissed about, the how not being vaccinated, and just like really just to confirm the information before he wasted his time writing an entire article about it.
Yeah.
Like,
again, if that were me or maybe you, I mean, it's in kind of your field. Wouldn't you have called one of your connections to the Red Sox and say, do you know this guy at this number?
But not even that, though. But again, like, yes, for sure, I would try that. And I would do everything I can to reverse search the phone number. But on the flip side, again, I would just call my contacts and be like, hey, is this actually true? Like, this is what I'm hearing from someone. Can't tell you who it is, but is there any bit of truth to this? That's how reporters get.
You have more integrity than Dan Shaughnessy. We have to watch our time, be mindful of the minutes. We have to go back to the earlier show, the main show that dropped today.
From today, yes.
Another good one, right? He's on a roll. I will say that. I thought
feeling it right now.
I thought that after the break, there'd be some sort of nervousness or tension about getting things ready for the Wilbur. It is what next week, right?
Next week, yeah.
Next weekend, right? Yeah.
Next
So
Saturday.
you are like 9 days away, So,
Yeah.
and I thought there'd be some tension. There's got to be a lot of last minute details that they're pulling together. So I thought that the shows would be maybe rougher, maybe bumpier, maybe him snapping more.
Shorter too.
What's that?
Shorter too.
Yeah.
I thought much shorter, but no, you're right. They've been great. It was also, to your point, they're still trying to figure out all the details with the Wilbur. What are your thoughts on what's the early show? It's 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
is the early show. So what are your thoughts on the 5 p.m. meet and greet time? Is that do you agree with Kirk or 5:30 that it was too early? Do you think that Minifans would have been upset about it?
No, I don't think they'll be upset about it. My thinking was, and who knows what goes on, right? But usually he comes into, say, Saco, he's driven in or he drives in, parks the car and starts saying hello, goes right from there. And then when he's done, goes up on the stage. He'll make sure that everyone, he says hello to everyone and gets everyone who wants a picture gets a picture. So I don't know the Wilbur, the outside, how that's going to work. But I guarantee you 2 hours is going to be very close to for him to get through. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's sold out. What is it? 2,200 capacity?
Yeah. And it's 200 VIP members for each show, he said.
So that's actually,
by the way, how great was it to hear this? Like, I don't mean this to sound the way it's going to sound, but like, I laughed when I heard Kirk's just like his soul disappearing from his body when he found out that it was 200 people for the VIP.
I know. Right.
He was just like, oh my God. It was just
but you know what? He'll buck up. He'll go through it. I do now, when he mentioned that, I'm thinking, geez, if there's that many people and if he does, aside from the VIPs, 2 hours is not a lot of time.
Oh, he's not going to be seeing anyone else. And the 2 hours for the VIP and the VIP time is also, this is again, where it's going to be different than a regular KMS live show.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a, hey, talk to Kirk type of moment. It's going to be a hi, picture, bye, done.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what he does as a veteran of many shows. That's kind of what he does. My question though is how much time does he need to prep? I mean, this isn't like just stepping on. He literally steps onto the riser stage.
Oh, he'll be there behind the mic
and he's gone.
He'll be there all day. He won't be getting in a couple hours.
No, but I mean, before usually
all day.
Usually there's some preparation. You got to prep before.
Yeah.
So
right, what I'm saying is he's going to do that, I think, before the meet and greet.
Yeah.
They'll test all the levels. They'll make sure all the tech is there. They'll run through rehearsals. They'll do all that.
We're boring people now. So.
Oh, I mean, do we ever not?
Right.
What are your thoughts on the mini golf thing for Barstool and do you
they
think
want them? They want them, right? Hey, by the way, I meant to check before I got here. You're in New Jersey now. Shit.
What?
Doesn't Cape Air fly out to like Islip from Boston, Hyannis?
I'm sure it does.
Why can't he just jump on one of those flights?
I mean, he said he wanted to fly out of Hanscom.
He wanted to fly private.
Right, out of Hanscom. I mean, that's your answer. But
that's not gonna happen.
It's also though. So Kirk kept talking about how the afternoon they wanted 2 hours for the second round and 2 hours for the third round, and he said that it was only 1 hour for the first round. But then he said it was 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. or 9:30 to 11:30. So it's actually 2 hours for each round. How many people are they planning on golfing? Because
good question.
Like that is 2 hours for one round of golf, no matter how much video or whatever they're going to do for each round. And I'm sure it'll be slower because they'll do something and there'll be some showmanship to it. Right. But on the flip side, that is still an insane amount of time for a single round of mini golf.
Yeah, that's right. Especially since we saw the highlights from last month. They must have a lot of people.
I mean, it's
a lot of people.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like the Barstool Idol thing. Why do you have 10 judges? Like, you want to have like semi-judges that'll be there, that'll give voices, and then 3 people make a decision? Fine, great, whatever. But like, it's too much. This is way too much. Do you think that they'll move the time for Kirk? Or let him come late or something?
They might let him come late. Do we have a roster of who's participating from Barstool?
No.
We don't have that yet.
No, nothing that I've seen at least.
Must be a lot of people.
I mean, just going by the names of the people that he mentioned
Yeah.
on the show that were on the call. I mean, you got PFT, you got Clem, you got um uh Pat, a bunch of other people. I'm not
Right.
remember them all now, but it's just it's a big call. It's a
Because
big
it's their
people.
logistics too. They have to get out from
Yeah.
the city if they're in Brooklyn or around the city. They've got to get out
Well,
and get
their
out to the
office is
island,
right
way out.
their office is right by Penn Station, so they'll probably
Okay.
just go straight, up to they'll go up the to the Triborough Bridge.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean,
Because it's out in the Hamptons, right?
yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. I think they said East Hampton.
Is it West Hampton?
I think they said East Hampton.
Oh, all right.
Far.
As far as you
It's
can go.
far.
Yeah.
Right. That's why. I mean, it's.
That's why you should take Cape Air or
Yeah,
take the ferry across from somewhere in Rhode Island.
I mean, it's just this. There's a reason why I don't ever go to Long Island in general, but especially
No, it's great out there.
not to the Hamptons in the summer.
It's real money there. So Maine, we all talk about how great Maine is or the Cape.
Yeah.
No. The Hamptons. My mother-in-law had a place out there. I've got a cousin with a place out there. It's
Listen,
wow.
I obviously have plenty of friends who have places there, but it is just it's not
Obviously, I know
to
that.
go there. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm Jewish living in New Jersey. Right? But yeah, of course, I have friends that go out in summer in the Hamptons. But like, it's just not fucking worth going. Anyways, do you have any other thoughts from the show this week?
No, I think we should wrap it up. We've gone 28 minutes. I think you might want to check your levels before you send this over to Dave, and hopefully he'll get it up tomorrow. But there's been some points where you've been fading out at the end, so
Interesting.
I don't know what that is.
I'll check them out then. All right. Well, listen, we'll do better next time. Although we will always be dull and boring, and we appreciate any support, and we appreciate the fact that Kirk listens to at least 5 seconds of
8 listens
of the show, and that he likes us, and that he likes me.
Well, you're really clinging to that, aren't you?
I'm really clinging.
Let it go.
I'm really clinging to it. Listen, Ned, I've had a good week. We'll talk about it more on our show.
Okay.
And there's your little teaser. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, download, resubscribe for our RSS feed, and then obviously be subscribed to the KMS Show Network, YouTube. Like the video, as Ned said last week so eloquently. Finger blast the like button. That's it. We'll see you guys next week. Choo choo.
Choo choo.